Hey, it's Yolanda at DryerBuzz, and of course, DryerBuzz Eats. I'm going to do a little bit of voiceover on this one just to get you a quick snapshot. So, this was really good. It was Salmon Wellington. I had a piece of salmon, and somebody sent me one of the Facebook videos. Say, hey, listen, try this. So, all you do is you take your puff pastry, no real preparation to it. Place your salmon, which we marinated in just some oil, salt, pepper, and dill, fresh dill. The spinach was the star of the show, which we basically just sauteed some onions with garlic, added the spinach, dill, any kind of seasoning. I threw in a little bit of smoked paprika. Then you put in some Parmesan cheese. I'm trying to take a picture here, so bear with me. Your Parmesan cheese, and then also cream cheese. Now, a lot of people, or the recipes actually call for you to go real heavy on the cream cheese. I like more spinach in mine. So, and plus you get a lot of flavor from the seasoning. So I didn't go heavy on the cream cheese. I kind of balanced out the cream cheese and then the Parmesan, and it really made a nice stuffing. What I love about recipes like this is they do give you nice tips that you can use otherwise. Now, a Wellington, most of us are used to having it as a beef Wellington pretty much at weddings and galas and things like that. It's usually one of the hors d'oeuvres that they do in the passing trays all the time. This is a perfect lunch, especially if you're like me, downsized, empty nester, cooking for one, which is really hard. But I took my, and this actually was, I actually did a do-over of this, making a smaller portion. But following the recipe, once you put your salmon, place your salmon, put the stuffing on top, try not to go to the sides. They really stress keeping it on the top, which actually ended up being the bottom, because once you close it up, and you see here, I then flipped it over to keep the closure on the bottom. You can cut off the ends or tuck the end. Now, the funny part about it was I tucked the ends, and then when I brought it out of the oven, it actually looked like a real fish. So that was not intentional at all. See me tucking the ends there, and see how I have that longer end. I probably could. I learned a lot in trying this out. And again, it was one of the Facebook, I think, tasty recipes. Pretty good. But I'm so glad that I have the stuffing down. So I didn't have the egg wash. But what I did was I melted a little bit of butter and brushed that on there. Now, here's where I think the recipe went wrong. The recipe says, because as you see, we went with the raw salmon. The recipe said to cook it like 20-25 minutes. And I was like, no, that was a really long time. And it went really fast, because after we put it in the oven, we started making another dish. And I noticed I needed to take it right out of the oven. And even set off my smoke alarm. I was like, okay, no. So in the do-over, I prepared the salmon. I baked my salmon a little bit. Depends on how you enjoy your salmon. I baked mine off. Then I put it in another piece of pastry dough with the stuffing, and it came out absolutely perfect. In fact, now that I think about it, I really should warm it up for lunch. So as you can see, melted the butter. I put the butter on there. Now, most of the instant pastry, pie crust, and things like that, they have a lot of butter inside. But you, again, could go either with the butter or the egg wash. I know a lot of people are kind of concerned about using eggs. There's so many things that we are now. But I mean, I'm not vegan, not gluten-free, and none of those kind of things. I just didn't have any more eggs. So one of my cooking coaches was on live with me, and he was like, just put some butter on it, melted butter, just to give it a nice shine. And the puff pastry really bakes up. You won't see it in this video. There's a longer video out there. The puff pastry really does bake up nice and crisp. Now, always you see in those pictures, they always seem to have the perfect cuts, the perfect slits. Had I stopped, I always go too far. I always need to dial it back. The first cuts came out great, but then I tried to turn it around. I was trying to figure out, well, how did they get the whole crisscross? See, like right there, I should have stayed. But no, I turned it the wrong way. And then here I am trying to figure out how to cut it. Nice and funny. But a lot of our cooking shows are usually us blogging and live blogging. In the process, we try to make something as well. So if you're looking at it, if you're catching our videos, you just want to get just quickly how it's done. I try to go back and find little snippets of like this where I'm doing the concentrated step by step. But for the most part, you know, we're blogging and talking about a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, I'm heading in the kitchen right now. We're gonna learn how to make crumble, but it's part of our book club conversation. So put it in the oven to see the finished product. Check the timeline and listen. Try it. You'll enjoy it. Yolanda, DryerBuzz.